Well, it's been an interesting day in the House of Commons as the Isle of Man, amongst other offshore jurisdictions, has been in the spotlight with the emergency debate. David Morris, MP, is joining us now because, David, you obviously got affinities with the Isle of Man. You mentioned that. You're obviously a very close MP. What was it all about?
Well, it was pure opportunism by Corbyn's Labour Party. They're banging on about tax evasion of all things. And laughably, the Member of Parliament who brought the debate forward, it's been reported in the press that the company that she's a shareholder of turned over £2.1 billion not so long ago and only paid 0.25% in tax, which is something I'm looking further into. I did bring this up in the debate. And of course, she waffled on to say that she'd given the money to charity, and I've not seen any evidence of that. So I'm going to start looking into this.
What was the mood like in the House? Because it was quite chilly to start with, certainly.
Well, at the beginning of the debate, it was quite terse, as you can imagine. But what really annoys me about the whole situation is that HMRC in the UK set up agreements with other offshore entities like the Isle of Man. The UK Exchequer gets a lot of money from the Isle of Man. I have a lot of close ties and friends in the Isle of Man. I'm the MP across the water, the nearest MP to the Isle of Man. And, putting it bluntly, I'd be damned if I'm going to hear from Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party about them decrying the Isle of Man, my constituency, and prosperity across the country. And
that's the point you made. I mean, you were very succinct. You didn't use your 6 minutes. By the time you got on, it was, everyone was under a lot of pressure. Do you think you made any headway? I mean, again, this thing it was obviously a bit of bluster you're telling us now, but there is a traction on this whole thing about what is going on here and Jersey, Guernsey and the overseas territories.
I don't think there's any traction whatsoever. What the Labour Party want to do is paint a picture of perception that tax avoidance, tax evasion, putting it bluntly, fiddling of taxes are going on right all the way through British society, which is not true. And it's certainly not true in the case of the Isle of Man and its jurisdiction as an offshore entity. And, I was really angry because Jeremy Corbyn in PMQs last week mentioned about private jets. The fact is, 4.3 million has come into the exchequer of the UK, thankfully through the Isle of Man. And, I'm not going to sit by idly listening to them putting these accusations forward. Two reasons. One, putting it bluntly, Corbyn doesn't know what he's talking about. And two, the Isle of Man and myself and my constituency have a lot of close ties, and that's not going to get ruined.
You obviously saw the Panorama programme. Your views on it?
Well, I think the Panorama programme was quite slanted because at the end of the day, the overseas territories that do have any sort of form of tax advantages are governed by HMRC to begin with. So, a lot of it is a lot of bluster. There was a big difference between these so-called Paradise Papers and the Panama Papers. Incidentally, Margaret Hodge MP's company was based in Panama up until that news report breaking. So, it's double standards of the worst kind.
It appears from the Tax Justice Network say there will be massive implications. Do you think there will be yourself from that sort of programme and the whole leak?
I think that because of what's gone on and because we're in the media age where anything can be leaked now, nothing's private as we once knew it in that respect. Whatever will be leaked, what will be picked up on is the companies that aren't, or even the offshore entities that aren't abiding by the rules. And I know that the Isle of Man is abiding by the rules, and so are all the offshore entities around the UK. Because
you went further. You said it's the most regulated of the jurisdictions, I think, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, I did, and it is.
So that's over. You've had the emergency debate. What happened in the end?
Quite simply nothing. Nothing. It was just a waste of time. I said that to John Bercow. I was actually stood by him yesterday when he granted this standing order 24 for this emergency debate, which was just a grand waste of time. It was showboating by the Labour Party. It had no political, not political, it had a lot of political implication what they wanted to get out of it, which was a damp squib. But it had no parliamentary time attached to it in any way, shape or form. And most of the point, it wasn't binding in law. So we just wasted 2 hours before some serious legislation came forward, which is the withdrawal from the European Union, which is what the overwhelming public of the United Kingdom wanted.
Finally, is there more that the Isle of Man can do? I mean, obviously you made a good point, what you were saying. Do you think it's still shrouded in a bit of uncertainty, the Isle of Man? Are they doing their bit? You know, the government are down there all the time, they're telling us, the Chief Minister. Are they making headway in changing minds?
They are, and more to the point, you know, there's a lot of respect for the politicians here in Westminster, for the politicians in the Isle of Man. You know, you've got some first-class people, and they're always welcome in Westminster. They'll always be welcome in Morecambe, and they'll always be welcome to see me.